Hello everyone, welcome back to Rogers Reports. I'm your host with the most. You guys can call me Rogers, and be sure to leave a like, subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss a thing that happens on this channel. But now that is out of the way, in the words of Vin Diesel in The Fast and the Furious, welcome to Brazil. Why am I saying that? Why did I do that? I don't know. But you've seen the title, you've seen the thumbnail, and today we're going to be talking about Aston Villa being linked to two Brazilian midfielders, one that we know very well, the one that just won't go away ever since we sold him for PSR, Douglas Luiz, who apparently is available for £21 million, and an ex-Aston Villa scout who apparently has links within the club, has said he thinks it is very likely that Aston Villa will explore the likelihood of bringing him back for that cut price deal after selling him for 40 odd million plus Ealing Jr. and Valencia earlier on last year. And then there is one that we have been linked with in the past, and that is Gabriel Sara from Galatasaray. Galatasaray, who have an interest in Lucadinha as well as Emi Martinez. Used to play for Norwich, went to Galatasaray, has actually done all right. So we're looking at both of them, having that discussion. Do we even need them when we look into the players? Let's have a look. Should we start with Gabriel Sara, because we know who Douglas Luiz is, but you might not know him. And we do kick it off with Gabriel Sara, 26 years of age, only just turned 26. Current market value of around 18 million. Apparently the deal that is being explored would be around 20 to 25 million euros. Can play anywhere across the sort of midfield vertical line, so defensive mid, centre mid, or attacking midfield. So where would we be signing him? You're probably looking at more of a CDM type deal. Again, this deal would kind of suggest to me, same as the Douglas Luiz deal, that perhaps we might be looking to offload someone like Boubacar Kamara. Again, that contract, PSR, saying he wants to play for Champions League team this season, could be just one of those things that naturally happens, and we are looking for that replacement. Now, like I said, started his career with Sao Paulo, went to Norwich, where I think he played a little bit more attacking minded. If we switch across to the seasons here, you'll see, especially that second season in the Championship, 13 goals and 12 assists. The first season, 7 goals there, as well as 4 assists. His stats this season in the Super League, though, still very, very good, right? From defensive midfield, 31 games, 28 starts, 2 goals and 8 assists, which again is a very high amount of assists. That's very similar to the amount of assists that Yuri Tielemans got for Aston Villa in the Premier League last season, obviously in a little bit of a lesser league. But we look at his stats here. These are his total overall stats in 2,300 minutes played, and we have 2 goals, an expected goal of 3.86, so probably should have got at least one more goal really. But look at the assists here. The 8 assists puts him in the top 4th percentile for his position, and the best expected assists for those type of central midfield roles in that Super League last season. Very, very impressive. A pass accuracy of 83.6%. And we're going to get on something in a second right here that you'll see that I like very, very much. Maybe it's Juventus' style of play. But anyway, 61.8% long ball accuracy. Created 68 chances for his teammate. That is another 100th percentile stat. No one done it better than Gabriel Sara. And I'll tell you what else he's bloody good at. 57 successful crosses off of a cross accuracy of 35%. For, comparison's sake, I know Aston Villa don't cross the ball as much as other teams, but Morgan Rogers, I think, completed 14%. Matty Cash completed 11%, and Leon Bailey completed like 8% of his crosses last season. You could probably add them all together and it doesn't even come to this guy's 35% off of 57 successful crosses. I really, really like that, especially if we might be bringing in a bit of a target man type striker. 18 successful dribbles puts him in the top 15th percentile of that as well. And defensively, no slouch. 165% of his tackles, 196 duels, 26 aerial duels, 16 blocks, 115 recoveries as well. So some very, very good stats in there for Gabriel Sara. If we switch over to Douglas Luiz, and it hasn't been sunshine, rainbows and roses for Dougie since he has gone over to Serie A and for Juventus. Obviously a defensive midfielder, now 27 years of age, so 1 year older than Gabriel Sara. Only managed 516 minutes in that Juventus team, 19 games, only 3 starts, an average rating of 6.5 for him. If we go here to the Serie A, look at his stats this season, you'll see it's pretty grim viewing for Douglas Luiz, right? Attacking output, effectively null and void, no assists. Still, we all know the class that he possesses, right? 90% pass accuracy, 75% long ball accuracy, and a 27% cross accuracy. Completes nearly 80% of his dribbles, but defensively, again, conceded a penalty, won 8 tackles in his time, 36 duels, 5 aerial duels. Not a fantastic season for him, but these are like sort of like your vanity stats, right? Your goals, your assists, your successful dribbles. How will the two compare if we dig a little bit deeper and look at their per 90s as well? For that, we're going to switch over to FB Ref. And for this, we're going to be looking at their entire seasons to get an idea of what type of players they are. So you can see Douglas Luiz does have the slight advantage in matches played by about 70 games, but actually starts-wise, it's only about 40, so it's a little bit less. Goals and assists, though, Douglas Luiz, 41 over the span of the career of his, 61 by Gabriel Sara as well. These underlying stats are because some might be missing because they don't record all the stats all the time in terms of whenever they were playing in different leagues. But if we go down to their shooting here, again, you can see 31 goals for Gabriel Sara. Only the assists as well is a vast difference. 30 for Sara and only 18 for Douglas Luiz. But a vast difference there. In terms of shots per 90, Gabriel Sara takes a lot more shots as well. Average distance is a little bit closer and outperforming his XG by 8.7, whereas Douglas Luiz outperforms it by about 1.5. Now, in terms of passing, there is that slight changeover now that you'll see that Douglas Luiz does take the category, shall we say, for want of a better word, completed many more passes and has a better overall accuracy by about 6% than Gabriel Sara, and passes it for a lot more distance as well. Progressive distance there, so that's in yards, as you can see. 38,000 for Douglas Luiz, only 29,000 for Gabriel Sara. Still good nonetheless. Now, in terms of short passing, they are actually very even. 89.8% for Douglas Luiz, 88.1% for Gabriel Sara. Where Luiz starts to pull away is that passing range, and his passing range was so glorious at Aston Villa. We all know what he's capable of. An extra 5% on Sara for medium range passes, and then an extra 5% again for long passes completed, the percentage on that as well. But expected assists, actually very good for Sara, a lot more. So, maybe he's just a little bit more clinical with it, but Douglas Luiz offers you that bit more range from deeper in the pitch. And if you look here, you can see their pass types as well. Through balls here, Gabriel Sara does play more. Switches, though, Douglas Luiz nearly doubles the amount that Sara can do. Goal and shot creation, so how are they contributing to their team? And you can see per 90 in their career, Gabriel Sara a massive advantage, but then again has played in those slightly more forward roles. Creates on average throughout his career about 4 shot creating chances for his teammates, comparison to Douglas Luiz 2.6. Just saying, it's pretty good. If we go down here, defensive actions, obviously very important considering the positions that these two players do play, and Douglas Luiz begins to take the cake again. In terms of tackles, nearly 150 more for Douglas Luiz. Again, in the defensive third, doubles Gabriel Sara's output. In the attacking third, though, they are neck and neck with 31. Tackle percentage, for both of them, it's 1% in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's hardly anything. So very similar in regards to that. And errors, Douglas Luiz maybe has an error or two in him more than Gabriel Sara. Possession-wise, we look at touches here. Not really too interested in touches, but take-ons, carries, and receiving. Obviously, we know Douglas Luiz was very good on the ball. How does Gabriel Sara compare to him in that sense? Well, take-on success ratio, you can see Douglas Luiz, it's a night and day thing. Nearly 16% or over 16% higher than Gabriel Sara there. Gabriel Sara has been tackled more, and this is tackled during a take-on. Douglas Luiz 30%, Gabriel Sara 45%. It is pretty much, it's night and day. And you look at the carries here, in terms of the distance, the number of carries there, Douglas Luiz just way better. And ultimately, where do these players fit into the Aston Villa team? And the short answer is At the moment, I don't know. Douglas Luiz, perhaps you just put him straight back in next to Boubacar Kamara and try and reignite that partnership that got us into the Champions League in the first place. But we've got Amadou Onana, we've got Benatia, if you believe the rumours, he might be leaving. We've got Barkley now. We've got Tielemans, who drops deeper to allow Morgan Rogers to play in that 10 role sometimes. Could we get Asensio still? I don't know. And the same with Gabriel Sara. There has to be a defensive midfielder for me that leaves the club in order to facilitate one of these two players coming in. Now, apparently we're quite aggressive in our pursuit of Gabriel Sara, so that one could have legs, that one could go somewhere. But again, where does he play? Where do we slot him in? Who drops out of the team? These are all questions that I just don't know if I particularly have the answer to right now. So perhaps we should discuss it down in the comments below, because it perplexes me, and someone has to leave. Someone has to leave. I don't know. Leave your comments down below. We'll talk down there. But as always, I'll see you in the next one up the Villa. Where are they going to go?